Good afternoon, or perhaps it is good evening, depending upon where you are on the globe. And this is part 2, basically, of this week in review. And I am going to go over the latest in the Trayon Light case and possibly the Tiffany HENYARD case. It is extremely early, so some of you may catch the replay later on today. This has been a lot to unpack. However, much of what I said earlier is almost confirmed. Now, I mentioned, and I was really careful with it, that I did not want to allege or suggest or imply that Mr. Kamara was the informant. However, I wanted to show with the affidavit of Trayon Light and the plea from Mr. Kamara that the similarities were glaring. So prior to my leaving work, I checked to see if there had been any updates, and absolutely there has been. I did a lot of research and sent a couple of emails and some links, and hopefully I can receive a call back, if not live, at least a personal conversation, and if I get the green light, I can share that. But basically, the latest is, according to the unsealed documents, show that Kamara, Elio Kamara, whose employees worked with vulnerable Washingtonians, entered a guilty plea to bribing a contract specialist at the D.C. Child and Family Services Agency, or also known as CFSA, in exchange for help rigging at least $2 million in contracts. Again, $2 million in contracts. He also entered a guilty plea to defrauding a federal pandemic program, which I spoke about earlier, the PPP loan, to help small businesses. And that particular case may implicate a lot of businesses. Now, what I find interesting is that Miss Pinto, Ward 2, has come out and stated that she will be having her first hearing examining how contracts and grants were awarded at the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. This is an agency that was charged with reducing weapons violence and had millions in agreements with 2 of Kamara's companies, Life Deeds and District Management Services. Ahead of the hearing, Pinto said that the council and her committee took the widening bribery allegations very seriously. Well, I'm wondering when you started taking all of these very seriously. Is it because maybe, just maybe, other people are looking into this and perhaps higher ups are about to be implicated? Because from what I saw, that is definitely a possibility. Let me go ahead and grab these two comments before I begin. And again, thank you to those that have come in. The Watchers was in here earlier. And Oracles. Hey there, Oracles. How are you? And thank you so much. Let me go ahead and put this up really quickly. This is a lot. This is the Fair Use Act disclaimer. Again, I will not be showing any videos, but quite a few snaps, and this is only half of what I have. I'm going to save some for obvious reasons. And also, Mayor Muriel Bowser stated that we expect this former employee to be prosecuted to the full extent of law. Again, Madam Mayor Muriel Bowser, you need to leave. They need to look at you and many people in your office, because it is unfathomable how this could have happened. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, there are claims or these revelations now as we approach the election. And keep in mind, Trayon White is still on the ballot. And he, like many people, do not plan on going anywhere. He still has to have his day in court. So, allegations state that Kamara, who was the former CEO, executive director of Life Deeds, bribed the contract specialist. He admitted in his plea. According to court records, he promised kickbacks for her agreement to provide confidential information that could help him win contracts and grants. Again, I've mentioned this several times. Allegedly, according to this report, she told him which other businesses were bidding and gave advice on how to adjust the details in his bids if she knew the contract or grant would go to the lowest bidder. And this says the ploy mirrored the alleged bribery scheme Kamara pitched to Trayon White over 4 secretly recorded meetings this summer. And this was all on the court documents. Now, sadly, this initiative was to help fund youth and families who are in impoverished neighborhoods and seeking help. And keep in mind, millions of dollars were appropriated for this. And as I mentioned, between 2019 and 2023, $2 million was awarded to Life Deeds. The other companies under his helm, District Services Management and Mission Services, were reportedly also given awards for cleaning services and transporting children to school. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. Let me grab these two real quick before I continue. Yes, I saw that. I have to pay more attention to it, but not right now, but I'll look at that. But thank you, oracles. Now here is more information, and I'm going to show you an example. According to prosecutors, the CFSA employee was also part of a plan to defraud the PPP program. She worked with Kamara and his accountant to secure roughly $175,000 for her beauty business during the pandemic. The employee then allegedly paid Kamara a cut of the illegally obtained loans. And this is the sad part. The federal government forgave that loan and she never had to repay. So to even consider getting involved in this type of scandal again spells out nothing but greed. Now, according to reports, she entered a guilty plea with an accountant by the name of Kelly Winston for conspiracy to commit bank fraud. Now get this. And I'm laughing because I cannot believe the lengths people go and how they honestly feel as though they're going to get away with all of these things. Now, one of the individuals involved in the PPP scheme has a business, a salon and spa parties business, for which she submitted for a PPP loan, and also assisted Winston and also filing for PPP loans. Now Winston, and again, this is where it gets really interesting and a little bit gray. Winston, Kelly Winston, is Alua's alleged ex-wife. I'll repeat that. Winston is Kamara, who is the former executive director, CEO of Life Deeds. Winston. Is his ex-wife. Now, Barnes, and this is public, Marquita Barnes allegedly was the contract specialist assigned to the district service management for at least 3 awards between the years of 2020 and 2021 for cleaning services. She's also listed as the contract specialist on a notice of funding availability. Now, Barnes does not, and I repeat, does not appear in the database of current DC employees or listed as a contract specialist, but it does date back to 2018. Her employment ended August of 2023. However, according to this report, the circumstances of her departure are unclear. I actually don't believe that. I think it's very clear, but no one really wants to say it this time, and I actually understand that. So under Mr. Kamara, there's life deeds, district service manager, and mission ready. Between those 3 companies, Kamara collected $1.1 million in PPP loans. That's unreal. Unreal and unfortunate. So, let us look at a couple of documents. And again, these are just a few. There are so many. That's why I know this is going to be continued. This is a company. District Service Management, LLC. And it's a townhouse. And if you dial the number, it's disconnected. But I want you to pay attention to the address that's listed. 5035 C Street Southeast, Washington, D.C. Okay? Next, you should pay attention to this. I'm going to expand it. Now, even though this was dismissed, if you pay close attention to the tippity top, you'll see it's a contract case. Plaintiff, Mariner Finance. Defendant, Kamara. And me click over here. The address is hopefully you can see it. 5035 C Street, Southeast, Washington, D.C. 20019. The appearance date for the attorney was in 2013, so obviously this was several years ago, but it sort of paints the picture of his work ethic. And when I think about this, it's really sad that for the greed that Trayon White didn't even pay attention or vet this person. So next, oh, that's not the one I want to show, but that's interesting as well. All of this is. So we have that one. This might be the same. Nope, this is different. No, that's the same. There's so many of them in here. Let me see if this is the one I want. Or do I want to show that one later? Yeah, I have to show that one later. So, we have that. We have Together We Rise, a community development foundation. Underneath it here, victim aid and a 501c3. All of these are supposed to be to ward off or help the youth and families in need. Now this is very telling. Building Blocks, DC. Who uses this program? ONSE. And this is another one of Kamara's and Trayon White's business dealings that are in question. I'm going to expand this. Hopefully that's a little bit more clear. But as you can see, for wards number 1 and 4, you have life deeds. Ward 5 Violence Prevention Network. 6, I just showed a quick clip. Together We Rise. And number 8, which is Ward 8. And the 1, Trayon White, council member Trayon White, was arrested for and under investigation for accepting federal bribes. Again, the name of this company is J&J Monitoring. So keep that in your mental Next, building blocks, DC. A lot of these things you can Google yourself, but it's the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. Now, earlier I mentioned J&J monitoring. That's not it. Hold on. J&J monitoring. Allegedly, J&J monitoring was awarded a contract in DC. However, back in 2017, the individuals were taken to court by the mayor and city council of Baltimore. And as you can see here, District of Columbia Government, J&J Monitoring Solutions, allegedly, and I'll provide those receipts tomorrow, allegedly, that contract was awarded for DC Courts Treatment Program. I'm not sure of other jurisdictions, but I do know in DC they actually have a drug court. So if you are a repeat offender and the judge gives you a sentence to appear the drug court, this is what this company allegedly was awarded to do, provide training for such. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to attempt to share my screen. This is the alleged contract specialist. Again, this is public and fair use. You just have to know where to go. And hopefully it will pop up. And this is just an example of what types of paperwork and the language that contract specialists use. But remember, I said earlier during my live, or for those who may have caught the replay. When there is bribery and fraud allegations, that and your grants office are the very first places you should start to look. You would be surprised of what you'll find there. And it's saying that it's not responding, which I should have known. That could have been a possibility. We'll see what happens. If not, I'll just go on to the next. But so far, as I said, Trayon White does have his day in court, but this does not look good with these two ladies. One, an accountant, the other, an alleged ex-wife, and a former contract specialist. And there's one more receipt I'm going to show, and the reporters don't even have this. They may after this, but as of yet they don't. And this is just hanging up right now. So I'm going to give it a few. And again, hopefully, I can just give you an example of what these things look like. And how easily one can get caught in just being greedy. Just being greedy, as I mentioned, to be forgiven and not to have to repay a loan and then turn around and get mixed up in additional fraud. That just says a lot. That says an awful lot. And I really don't want to shut this down because it's just circling around and circling around. And my tabs are open. So let me try one more time. I know it's late or early, but as I said, I wanted to get this out because this is just unreal. And I know more information is going to be coming out. Absolutely. And we might hear other names. As a matter of fact, there is another name, and I'll probably just mention it while I wait. Again, this is fair use. And hopefully I can pull this up. It looked like they wanted to do it. We'll see. I don't think the file is that huge. See again what happens. And thank you to those who are being patient. Truly, truly appreciate you. Yes, I am exhausted, but I wanted to get this out. And I'm at the mercy of StreamYard. As usual, sometimes it'll work without a hitch, and then other times it will just hang up. Alright, this is an example of a notice of funding. It gives you the background information, the scope, the criteria, which is right here. The awards were $325,000 for up to 2 awards in the 12-month base year, and $325,000 per year for up to 4 option years. CFSA contact Marquita Barnes, contract specialist. Again, this is public, and the individual named as allegedly receiving a large amount of money to help Mr. Kamara, who in turn approached Trayon, and we're here today with these allegations. Marquita Barnes, as I mentioned, owns a business and then there's an accountant also mixed up into this mess. Miss Winston, who I mentioned earlier, was or is the ex-wife of Mr. Kamara. Now, even though those two ladies pled guilty, something just happened recently. Something just happened recently, and as I said, the reporters didn't even know this. Make sure I pull the right one. These are small, I know. And this just adds to it. I'm going to expand this for you. And hopefully you're able to see it. This was just filed September the 30th, 2024. Now I redacted the plaintiff's name, but it's filed in the Circuit Court for Prince George's County, Maryland. And as you can see, it's a tort. Conspiracy against who? Aliu B. Kamara Jr. So I'm going to assume that the summons has already gone out for service or will be shortly. So that could mean many things. Other names, other businesses may be implicated. Now, what I plan to show later on today, because as I said, there is a ton of information that I pulled up, which leads me to believe Miss Pinto of Ward 2, after all of this long time, has decided to flex a little bit. Now, I actually remember some of this. Not all, but some. And I'll just give you a teeny tiny bit. Again, you can do your research. Kareem McCraney is a program analyst at the DC Corrections Information Council. JJ Monitoring Solutions is also listed, as well as Georgetown University School of Continuing Studies. Now, what's interesting about Kareem McCraney is several years ago, actually, I'm going to say maybe 20 years ago, he and a friend, Mr. Stewart, they, when they were young, they were charged with unaliving a gentleman. I repeat, he and another gentleman were charged with unaliving someone. They served 2 decades in prison. And who do you think used her celebrity to help get Stewart out? Kim Kardashian. Of all people, Kim Kardashian. I am not making this up. You can type it in yourself. Kareem McCraney, who is now a senior program analyst in the DC government. He listed, or someone bearing his likeness listed in a LinkedIn, that he was involved with J&J monitoring in Ward 8. No, I am not pointing my finger and accusing. I want to make that clear. And people can be released from jail, prison, behind bars, and change their life around. However, and I've mentioned this before, I don't believe in coincidences. How he was affiliated, and perhaps it's possible he may not have known about J&J monitoring services. By the way, if you do a search, there are only a few employees there, and allegedly they received, or they were awarded, a contract with the DC courts, as I mentioned earlier. Again, all of this is in the effort to assist the youth and families and help curb the violence, or have a place to go to. Now, I'll put these receipts up tomorrow. But for J&J Monitoring Solutions, LLC, you'll find the address. Trust me, if you Google it. The federal contract vehicle is not listed, nor the set-aside type, nor the extent completed. None of that was provided. Not only that, there's another interesting snap I came across. And again, this is all alleged. I can't confirm this one way or the other, but J&J Monitoring Solutions has been awarded a $70,500 firm fixed. Those in the contracting field knows what that is. A firm fixed purchase order for consulting services for family treatment court trainings. Not training, but trainings, from January 1st, 2024 through December 31, 2024. The award was issued October 2023. I just mentioned that Miss Barnes left a contracting position in 2023. Yet the story claims it was unclear why she left. According to the Snap, again, I'll upload these tomorrow. The award was issued on October 1 by an unnamed U.S. government agency. Now, why would that be unnamed? That's red flag number 1. To support the agency's efforts in delivering training and technical assistance to family treatment courts across the country. So this supposedly, allegedly, is not just limited to Washington, D.C., but across the country. The single award contract has no set-aside designation and will be carried out by J&J Monitoring Solutions, LLC, by the completion date of September the 30th, 2024. I just presented, and I hope this is the correct one. StreamYard is really getting on my nerves, but this right here, which is fine, this was 2017. This has to do with J&J Consulting. So, the earlier one, this has to do with J&J Consulting. And I presented this earlier. And that contract or purchase order, that completion date was supposed to end September the 30th, 2024. And what do we have here? Prince George's County Circuit Court, a filing of conspiracy against who? B. Kamara, who allegedly was the informant in the case against Trayon White. As I said, I have so many other documents. It is unreal. And as I mentioned, StreamYard is acting really bizarre. But at least you are able to see how this is starting to look. And it is not good. It's not good. So I am going to see how this is going to work. If not, I may have to, as I said, upload these receipts in another file and present them so you can see additional information and why I feel Ms. Pinto from Ward 2 is now at the helm and exercising, wondering how some of these contracts and grants have been awarded, which again to me is a smokescreen, because there's no way in the world that you don't have auditors in place. Now, I understand the DC government is slightly different from the feds, but you still have auditors. So I just believe that more people are involved and if that who had cases filed against them by the mayor and city council of Baltimore, if they were actually awarded a contract with the DC courts, then to me, just me, that says a lot. That says to me that most definitely there's some shenanigans going on, and people are getting extremely close. And I honestly believe there are other people in the government that's involved in this. Absolutely. That's how I feel about it. So let's travel back up to the top of this. So if I'm able to. I'm going to see how much I'm able to get through tonight, because this is hanging up too much. Hey there, Temper Bell, how are you? Welcome.